I'm on a mission. Have you ever looked at life and thought, it's just not the right shape? Now you might be thinking politically or economically or socially, whatever's been on your mind lately. So let me be perfectly clear about this. I mean all of it. And I don't think I'm the only person who's experienced this. That's why I'm sharing it, as well as it's the reason for this project. Now, every problem-solving journey needs a place to start. And I think I found it. A while back I made a video about playing Trucking Simulator. It was fun, and I spoke of how it did a good job of synthesizing the trucking experience for a former trucker. The key is that it's a synthesized experience. And I believe that social media is synthesizing relationships. It scratches the itch for interactions with people, but it's not the real thing. Even within the borders of the United States, cultures vary widely. I want to experience those. But to do that, I need to get out from behind my computer, where internet algorithms have created a custom culture for me, whether I like it or not. I have to do this in the real world. And so I decided I needed to travel. So about a year ago, I started looking for a van to turn into a camper. I've never traveled without being in a hurry. And I think hurrying through life is one of my biggest mistakes. I want to see and experience places while slowing down enough to talk to people and watch life happening around me. Finding a good van that I could afford turned out to be harder than I initially thought. After nearly a year of searching, and one failed deal that fell through, my wife sent me a Facebook listing, and it looked like a decent candidate. So I arranged a meeting with the seller and set off through the wretched winter landscape to see this thing. It was a good price because it couldn't drive, having a broken water pump. I could fix that, but I still didn't have a lot of hope because I had already seen too many of these vehicles in the Northeast that are completely rusted out underneath. To my surprise, it looked really good, and it only took me 15 minutes to decide I wanted it. The seller was able to deliver it for me on a trailer too, which made the deal a lot easier. So the next day it was delivered a little before sunset, and the family came out to see the new Folly I had brought home. With its non-distinct early 90s styling, it has all the charm of an Amtrak commuter train. I know that many van lifers prefer fewer windows for privacy, but I like all the windows on this thing, at least for now. My journeys will be more like camping than full-time living, and it'll get curtains anyway. The water pump was broken and the system had no coolant, but it could run for a couple minutes at a time in this 10-degree Fahrenheit weather. That's minus 12 Celsius for the heathen in the audience. Sorry, that just sounded really funny for some reason when it came out. No offense meant. So the next morning I started it up for the first time, to drive it around the back of the barn to do the work. That backup beeper really needs to go. But it ran well, went forward and backward and stopped. That's a good start for me. The van finally got stuck in the snow right at the entrance of the barn under the solar panels, so that's where we camped. Working on cars isn't among my normal hobbies, but I grew up in a car family. Fixing your own car was kind of a rite of passage. And so something like a water pump isn't a big deal, at least if I don't need to drive it to work the next morning. Okay, not much room to work under here. I've got to get the water pump off, which is back in there. It's got this great big plastic shroud here in the way. Van engines can be challenging to work on because the access to the engine is pretty bad. The engine is halfway between the nose and the cab, so the back of the engine is accessed through the interior, and the front through the hood. And you need to take off a lot of other stuff to get your arms in there. It took me 4 hours to get the large plastic fan shroud out. I ended up having to detach the lower radiator hose and pull the pieces out through the bottom. I splashed my camera with coolant in the process and kind of panicked, but I wiped it off and it was fine. Then came the mechanical fan, which is threaded on to the front of the water pump. You're supposed to use a special tool to help with removing this, but I did it with a wrench, a propane torch, and a hammer. The water pump was junk anyway, so I didn't worry about damaging it. After I got the fan off, I saw how badly the water pump failed. The bearings were completely shot. Like, even the shaft was bent. But after this, changing the water pump was straightforward. I pulled the old one off and put the new one on, and then came reconnecting the hoses and oil filler tube and putting new serpentine belt on, And that step was kind of like a puzzle game, as it only has one belt and it winds its way all over the front of the engine. Finally, it was time to test it out. That moment of truth, when you first start a car you did big work on and you're going to find out if it comes to life. And it did. I turned the key and was greeted by the sound of a very healthy V8 engine. The redneck in me seriously loves the tone of the exhaust. It really sounds like an old Camaro or something. It's awesome. This is the point when I decided to go with an electric fan. The water pump's likely to last a little longer, but the big reason was that if anything broke down roadside, it would save me hours of grief having that shroud and fan out of the way. I fabricated up mounting brackets out of aluminum and mounted dual fans, each with its own temperature sensor and relay, so they're redundant. This whole process actually took weeks, and it was well into February when it was time to try and get the van unstuck and back around into the driveway before the next snowstorm. This became an evening project for the whole family. The van's wheels were slowly melting smooth troughs in the ice so it couldn't move under its own power and just sat there spinning its tires. So out came the tractor driven by one of the kids. Even the tractor couldn't get it moving at first, so I ended up pushing the van forward by putting the corner of the tractor bucket into the hitch receiver. After that, we finally got it moving, and between the two machines, we got it backed up all the way back to the driveway. After detaching the tractor, it felt really pleasing to feel the van move under its own power again. The little thrill of bringing a machine back to life. I still haven't gotten rid of that backup beeper though. Then I finally got the plates on the vehicle. Now with the van running, I'm going to leave the project at that for today. The mechanical stuff is largely done. Future videos will be converting the interior, building a quote house electrical system for interior lighting, inverter, things like that. And then also I have a dash insert that I'm making, kind of like a Bluetooth stereo, only I'm building it with a Raspberry Pi and a touch screen to try to make the whole thing smarter, as well as monitor like engine telemetry and stuff like that. And I think it's going to be pretty cool. So subscribe to help you follow along, especially since my videos tend to be about once per month. That's about as good as I can do right now. So until next time, I'm Joe, signing off.